and we're chilling. We're about to learn some Gemara. We're on Yud Gimel Amud Aleph. Okay, so the Amar of Rav Acha Bar Yaakov. So Rav Acha Bar Yaakov says, "Od rakia yesh l'mayla." There's one more rakia. We learned last time. We learned that they're like they're either 2 or 7 or 12 rakiyas, like levels of. I don't know. There's a few different opinions in the Talmud, but Rav Acha Bar Yaakov says that we don't even know if he thinks that there's 2, 7, whatever there is. There's one more. L'mala miroshei achayos, above the head of the angel called the chayos, and now that goes with what Rashi said at the beginning when he says malamala. He says merakia sha'al roshei achayos. So Rashi seems to be talking about this rakia. This is the first rakia. No matter how many rakiyas there are, no matter how many of these firmaments there are, these represent different spiritual levels or different things. No matter how many there are, there's one more that's on top of the head of these angels. Tichsiv udemus al roshei chaya rakia, kein hakerach hanora. This is actually from Ezekiel. When he's talking about the Ma'aseh Merkava. So he says that there's one more, and it's like this awesome snow. So it says Ad kan yesh lecha reshut ledaber. So until here, you're allowed to speak about. Right? We spoke about like what are you right? Like what are you supposed to ask about? What are you not? How many people are you allowed to learn certain topics with about Ma'aseh Bereshis, like the story of creation, Ma'aseh Merkava, the story of the chariot, which is like spiritual reality. So he says you can ask until that first rakia on top of the heads of the chayot. We don't actually know if this is the first rakia or not, but you can ask until this rakia. Mikan ve'elach, and from here on, ein lecha reshus ledaber. You can't, not supposed to ask and talk about. And he says shekain kasuv b'sefer ben Sira. And Harry, we saw something like this on we saw something like this in Shteign there, season 1, talks about Ben Sira. And so now again, they're quoting this book, which never even got added into the Tanakh, but we quote it sometimes. And it says, "B'mufla mimcha al tidrosh." Don't like go and try to understand what's like mufla, what's like separate from you, what's too amazing.
Don't try to understand what's behind you. Beyond your mind.
What's beyond your mind, you know?
Just believe it.
I don't know if you just believe it, but like what you can't understand, don't try to understand. Now, like, so you say, well, what about ayahuasca? So ayahuasca, you can understand, you know? Like you can understand it. We understand something, and we're still like getting like lessons and understandings from it. So something that's hidden from you, out to score. Don't research, don't study. Kama or shita hitbonan. What you're allowed to, you can think about. In lecha esek ministero, you don't have any like thing to do with like things that are hidden. Tanya, you know Tanya, right? Andre is learning Tanya now with the rabbi in St. Paulo. But when the Gemara says Tanya, it means it was taught in a brisa. So it was taught in a brisa, which is like collection of statements from the group called the Tanaim, who were not able to, these things were not able to be put. They didn't get put into the Mishnah, right? This is Tanya. Amar Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Ma tshuva eshivaso basko oso rasha. So b'shasha, right? So what did a voice, a basko, come down? You know, basko, it's like a heavenly voice, came down and said to this rasha. We don't know who's b'shasha Amar when he says a'ale al b'masei av. So a'ale al b'masei av. This is I'm going to go up to my bama. All right, what's a bama? Stage. Nice. Yeah. So we're going to go up to the stage of cloud, Edmeh le'elyon. And that will be similar to the higher beings. So first of all, that reminds me a little bit of the Tower of Babel. Migdal Bavel Yani. So it says, Yatzus Abasko va'amra. So Abasko came down and said, Russia ben Beno shel Nimrod harasha. So it says, Russia, son of a Russia, evil, son of evil, the grandson of Nimrod, who, by the way, we just said, that reminds me of Tower of Babel. And I was saying, God is comparing him to Nimrod, right? Shehimrid as kol olam kulo alav, that he got the entire world to Nimrod, to rebel against God with him, b'malchuso, with his kingship. So the heavenly voice says, Kama shnosav shel adam, how long does a person live? Shivim shana, 7 years. Shenemar, 7 years, right? Shenemar, yimeshno teinu bahem shivim shana. Being big v'roz, the strong, shmonim shana, right? So it says a person lives 70 years. V'halomina aretz adarakia, from the land to the firmament, mahalach hamesh me'ot shana is 50 years, 500 years. What? The ovav shel rakia, mahalach hamesh me'ot shana. And the width of the rakia is another 500 years walking. V'chein ben kol rakia l'rakia l'mayla mehen. Kol rakia l'mayla mehen. So every firmament that's above it, these are like different levels. And they might exist in real life. They might only be spiritual. I'm still thinking about that. But and it seems to be me. I don't know. So it's l'mayla mehen. Chayos HaKodesh. So they have a Chayos HaKodesh. So between each one, there's a Chaya, which is Chayos HaKodesh, is like a type of angel. So between each firmament, there are angels. Raglei HaChayos Keneged Kulam. So the feet of these Chayos are equal to all of them, which means maybe 1,000, right? Kirsula, the ankles is Keneged Kulam, which is like another 1,000. The Shukei HaChayos, the legs, right? Keneged Kulan. Rechovei Achayos, the knees, Keneged Kulan. So these are all 1,000. Yarchei Achayos, the thighs, Keneged Kulan. Guvei Achayos, the body, the spleen, Keneged Kulan. Savarei Achayos, the neck, Keneged Kulan. Roshei Achayos, Keneged Kulan. Karnei Achayos, the horns of the Chayos, Keneged Kulan. So that's 7. So that's 7,000, like between each rakia, I think. Or it's like exponential. Okay, Kulan. Mehen. So and above the Chayos is Kisei HaKavod, is the seat of Kavod, of like the grandeur, the great seat of that God sits on, right? Raglei Kisei HaKavod Keneged Kulan. So like the legs of the Kisei HaKavod is equal to all of it. Kisei HaKavod, the seat itself is Keneged Kulan. And then Melech HaChai V'Kayam Ram V'Nisa Shochen Alehem. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. So it's like we're thinking about how long this whole thing is. It's Keneged Kulan. It's like, so we said, so Keneged Kulan is equal to all of the other ones. So I said either it's equal to 500 because each one is 500, or they said it's 1,000 because like you have the rakia or the aretz of the rakia, and then the whole rakia is 500. So like basically, he's saying that God is saying that like it's so vast, the space. He's talking about space, I think, and so space, maybe or the firmament is so vast, right? Viata Amarta, and you said that you're going to go up on clouds, and you're going to be similar to Hashem. Hashem says, no. Ach el Shaul Torid es Yerchasi Bor. He's like, nah, I'm just going to bring you down. So that's what God answered to Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar said that, like, I'm going to, like the guy who destroyed the first base of Mikdash, right? Second base of Mikdash was destroyed by the same group that did the Holocaust, the Romans. Tani, another brisa. So now the Mishnah says that like to study the Merkava, to study this story in Ezekiel, maybe a little bit in Isaiah. So you can only study with someone, with one person who can understand it. You give him a little bit and he understands from himself, So now we're going to go into that part of the Mishnah. But you can tell him like the basic things, right? You can tell him like the basic ideas. Talk about like very spiritual stuff. We did like a lot of Kabbalah at the ayahuasca ceremony. This is like some of the main stuff in actual Kabbalah. So you can teach him a little bit, and like the rest, if he understands it, he understands it. So Amar Rabbi Zeir says, "Ein motion roshei prakim el la'av beistin u'lekom misha libo doeg b'kirbo." So only to the head of beistin, meaning like a very, very big and wise Talmid Chacham. Also, anyone whose heart is worried inside of him, meaning the way that they told us growing up is like, oh, you can only teach Kabbalah, you can only learn Kabbalah if like you already like are like a huge Talmid Chacham, and you can only teach it to them if they understand it, they're wise and understand it themselves. But here we're saying you can give it to anyone who needs to hear it. Anyone needs to hear it, whose heart is like worried. He's searching for something.
Unsure, scared.
Yeah, unsure, scared. So Ika the Amri, you could say, V'hu shalibo dilig b'kirbo. So you could say that, it's only to a big Talmid Chacham or to someone who's like worried and scared and like not sure about what's going on in his heart, or it's like to a big Talmid Chacham and also a big Talmid Chacham that's worried, meaning, so that's a big difference. One opinion is that you can teach it to anyone who's just worried, who needs to hear it. One opinion is not only if he needs to hear it and he's like a big Talmid Chacham, a big scholar. Amar of Ami says, "Ein mosrin sisrei Torah el lemi sheyesh bo chamisha dvarim." So you can't teach Torah, the secrets of the Torah, except to someone who has these 5 things. So the Sar Chamishim. So he's like a leader of like 50 people. The Neso Panim, like he gives I think Neso Panim is like he gives no, Neso Panim is like he forgives people. The Yoetz, and he gives good advice. The Chacham, and he's wise. The Chacham Charashim, the Navo Machash. He understands like secrets and things that are said in silence.
This is the only people that you can teach them Torah?
Teach them the secrets of Torah.
Somebody that won't use it for bad.
Someone that won't use it for bad, someone who is forgiving, someone who understands secret stuff. Someone's
so you need to teach the secrets of the Torah for a leader that have a heart that can forgive and loving.
Yeah. Somebody
that can understand things and how God works.
Right.
Somebody that is intelligent.
Right.
The last
2 is Chacham Charashim v'Navo Machash. He understands things that are said in whisper.
So it sounded to me like one that has a snake mind.
Oh, maybe
somebody that can understand and
right. Snakes
pass everywhere.
Yeah, that's a good shot. It's a good shot. I like it. So he says the Amar of Ami, or Ami says, "Ein motion sifrei Torah le'oved kochavim." You can't teach the Torah to idolaters, to people who are like sacrificing kids to idolatry. Like they can't hear the secrets. Okay. Don't do this to like any nation that they don't know like the laws. Let's talk about to idolaters. A lot of times when people translate the Talmud, they'll translate it as like, oh, like, you can't do this. This is the thing about a non-Jew. This is the thing about a non-Jew. But it's not. We're not talking about non-Jews. We're talking about talking about idolaters, which is an important distinction. Amar le Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Ila'a. So Rabbi Yochanan says to Rabbi Ila'a, he says, Ta igmerecha b'maisa merkava. He's like, come teach me in Maisa Merkava. I want to learn this very deep Kabbalistic idea. I want to learn these secrets. Amar le lo kashoy. He says, Lo kashoy kikash. He's like, no, kashoy kikash nach nafshe Rabbi Yochanan. I don't know what that means. Lo kashoy kikash nach nafshe Rabbi Yochanan. Amar le Rabbi Asi ta'ik merchav b'maisa merkava. He says, Lo kashoy kikash. What does that mean?
Let me try to help you.
Yeah, come take a look. So
Where is it?
right here. Lo kashoy, and then it says kikash nach nafshe Rabbi Yochanan. So he said, no kashoy, like it's too hard.
Kash, usually kash, it's this like something very thin that can
Hey,
break.
Kikash nach nafshe Rabbi
That
Yochanan.
is
They come teach me Maisa Merkava. I'm like, Izakai, if I'm Zocher, Gemir Ta Rabbi Yochanan Rabbecha. Like if you were Zocher, then you would have learned it from your Rabbi Yochanan. Right? Rabbi Yochanan says to Rabbi Lazar, come, I'm going to teach you. He says, come, I'm going to teach you Maisa Merkava, and he says, Lo Kashoy. So he says, I'm not strong enough.
Here, kashayai,
Yeah.
coisas difícil. It's like something difficult.
Right.
But kash, because he can break.
Right.
Because this can be too heavy on him and he can break.
Maybe, but here I think it means like he said, I'm not strong enough. So then when he got strong enough, Kikash is Aramaic, right? Kikash nach nafshe Rabbi Yochanan. When he was strong enough, Rabbi Yochanan already died. So now Rav Asi says, Ta igmercha, he says to Rabbi Ila'a. So when he gets strong enough, so Rabbi Yochanan dies, so Rav Asi is like, Ta igmercha, I'm going to teach you some Kabbalah. He says, listen, if I was worthy to learn these secrets, is that guy, I would have learned it from your Rebbe. Right? But you're going to teach me this, Rav Asi? I could learn this from Rabbi Yochanan, but I wasn't ready. So I'm not ready. Rav Yosef, who was blind, speaking of blind, remember that blind violinist? So he was having Gamir Maisa Merkava. Rav Yosef was learning this story of the chariot, right? Harry, how's the sound coming in? It's good? Harry?
I'm with you.
Harry, how's the sound? Is good? You can hear?
You're like
Perfect.
more for charitable.
All right. Kiava Gamir Maisa Merkava. So Sabi de Tumbadisa Avu Tanu Maisa Brachis. So Rav Yosef was learning Maisa Merkava, and the elders in Tumbadisa, which is the place in Babylon that he was, they were learning Maisa Brachis. Maisa Merkava is like about like the spirituality, about the spiritual world, about like God and stuff. Maisa Brachis is how the spiritual world, how it connects to our world, right? How the world was created. So they were studying Maisa Brachis. Amrulay Maaseh Bereshit.
Maaseh Bereshit.
I have Ashkenazis.
Deep accent.
Yeah, Maaseh Bereshit. Maisa Brachis. Amrulay. So these elders said to Rav Yosef, they said, Ligmar Lan Mar Maisa Merkava. He's like, yo, could you guys teach me some of this Maisa Merkava? Maaseh Merkava. Amar Lahu is at him, Igmarun Li Maisa Brachis. He's like, how about you guys teach me some Maaseh Bereshit? you know. Bazar de Igmarun. So after they taught him, Amrule, Ligmaru Mar Ma'aseh Merkava. Okay, now it's your turn to teach us Ma'aseh Merkava. We taught you Ma'aseh Bereshit. Now you teach us Ma'aseh Merkava, which is like the first parak in Ezekiel. Ma'aseh Bereshit is, I think, the first parak in Bereshit. So he says, now teach us Ma'aseh Merkava. Amr Lahu Tanina Bhu says, I already taught about it in a Mishnah. Vash Mechalal Tachat L'Shoneh. You have honey and you have milk under your tongue, right? So he says, Dvarim hametukim midvash v'chalav, things which are sweeter, because like the secrets of Torah are the sweetest part. So things that are sweeter from honey and milk, yehi tachat l'shoneh, it should be under your tongue. They shouldn't talk about it. So basically, he was like pushing them away.
So they teach him and he didn't teach
Yeah,
them.
right. He pulled the fast one. Classic Rav Yosef over here, pulling fast ones. But maybe you could say no. That was the first lesson of teaching the secrets.
Yeah.
He was like the first secret. The first thing lesson is like you gotta be like, you can't just be like,
You need to be patient.
impatient. You gotta,
Or it comes to you or not.
or it comes to you or not. And
Human
like
beings can teach you. This
maybe,
is why.
maybe,
Because Maaseh Merkava was a follow.
yeah, Merkava.
Maaseh Merkava is something too holy. Maaseh Bereshit is something that you already know how to tell.
What's up? Hey, hola. So, right, it's very possible. It's a good shot. So he says, so that's the first lesson, right? Rabbi Yabo says, no, here's the thing. It says, Kivashim lilbushecha. So, like, it's like your clothing should be like hidden or something. Tvarim Jaim kivshono shel olam. Yeitakas lilbushecha. The things which are like the heart of the world should be under your clothing. Amar le taninan behu. We taught it in a Mishnah. Dinubu ad. Until
No.
the Amar Eli Ben Adam. So again, we're studying from Ezekiel. Amar Eli Ben Adam. Amar Lahu Ein Ma'aseh Merkava. So it says it says okay. Kaniru ad. So until it says that I bring my Yecheskel. I didn't bring my Yecheskel, unfortunately, but it's until the verses of Vayomer Eli Ben Adam. That's the first verse in the second chapter of Ezekiel. So he says,
What are you saying there?
yeah, he says, stand on your legs, right? It says, Ben Adam, Amora Reglecha, like, and I'll speak to you, God is saying. So until that verse is the Ma'aseh Merkava. He's saying that it's just the first verse in Ma'aseh in Ezekiel is Ma'aseh Bereshit.
It looks good. It's like before, like if you're like sitting, if you're like broken, you can do shit. First, like stand on your legs, be strong enough. Then you will hear God's word.
Yo,
just be strong, man.
You gotta be strong and hear God's word.
You need to stand on your legs, to be firm on the ground as a beast.
Yeah,
as an animal.
Firma, as an animal.
Because we're half animals, half angels. This is who we are.
Yo, the Gemara said that. Nice, yeah.
You know how I see this? The chakras, the three first chakras, they're very animalistic, survivor, sexual, and centrical, like egocentrical, because it's somewhere here in the belly button. How we get the food from our mother, we begin here, and then comes this part of the heart, and then comes the three upper chakras: the throat, the
how many chakras are there?
7, the peningula, and the connection to God. And it's crazy. I was high one time and I got to this. Think about it. It's completing the yin yang. Look at this. Because we're not walking like this. We're walking like this.
Right.
So we have animals בראשית ברא אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ.
נכון.
Él is como it's like one. The sky and the earth is one, but they're different. So our body, it's one, but it's divided. It's like black, white, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 7, and it's like yin yang, and it's here. It's like first know how to be an animal, know how to survive, know how to do it.
Right.
Then you get to God already.
Right.
And then God speaks to you with the evolution.
Amazing. Yes, he says stand up. That's a good shot, right? I'm one over left to stand up. So he says, until then, that's nice and recover. Amalan Hain Meisim recover. Mesve, so the Gemara asks the Kasha, Ad Hecha Meisim recover. So where is Meisim recover going till? Rebbe says Ad Va'era. So Rebbe says until Va'era Ke'in Chashmal. That's at the end of the first chapter. Ke'in Chashmal Kemare Eish, like the sight of fire.
There's no electricity.
From like it's no Chashmal is a type of angel.
Chashmal is angel.
A type of angel. Yeah. So I saw like so this Chashmal it looked like fire. You know, and it keeps on saying it's like this. So he doesn't know exactly how to explain anything. So we said, wait a second. So according to Rebbe in this brisa, it's until that pasuk. So the Va'era Basra, Rabbi Yitzchak Omer Ada Chashmal. So Rabbi Yitzchak says, no, it's until this. So we're trying to figure out until which point is the Merkava. Ad Va'era Migramina Nikam Ve'elach Maspina Rosh Brakim. So he's saying no, like this. There's not a contradiction because Rabbi Yitzchak says until the Chashmal, which is the pasuk that Rabbi said in the brisa, until this last Ba'era, you can teach it and everything's fine. But after that, you can just teach like the Roshei Prakim, like the basic ideas. Ikadam, there are those that say Ad Ba'era Masri, not until that last verse that he sees the Chashmal, you can pass it, pass Roshei Prakim. Then we come Ba'era, Imu Chacham Midai. So no, the phrase is Chacham. If he understands from his own, so then he understands the aim, so then it's good. The aim low, and if not, you can't teach it. And are you really allowed to study and explain like the secrets of this angel called Chashmal? There was this little baby, this little kid, or this little youngster, right, who was teaching in the Chashmal. The nafka nura the achalte, and the king and the fire comes down and ate him. So shiny dianuka the love mati zimne. Now it's different with the kid. With the kid, it wasn't his time, and so he got eaten. Amar Rav Yehuda Baram Zachar Odoish Lutov. Rather though, like we should think about this guy. Remember him well. Like yeah, he died and he got eaten by fire from studying this stuff. But we should remember him for good. Chananya ben Cheskia Shmo, and his name, listen, he died, but he died for a good cause. His name was Chananya ben Cheskia, was his name. If it wasn't for him, Nignaz Sefer Yecheskel, the book of Ezekiel would have been completely censored. Shahayu Devarav Soisrin Divrei Torah, because the words of Ezekiel were like contradicting words of the Torah. Ma'asa, so what did he do? Halulo Gimel Meos Garbe Shemen. He brought up 300 sacks of oil. The Yashav Ba'aliyah, and he sat in the attic. Vidarshu. The Darshu, and he explained how it's not really contradicting the Torah. Tana Rabbanan, we learn the Brisa. Maisa Betinok Echad is one little kid. She'ekor b'bayit, base Rabu b'Sefer Yecheskel. and he was in his Rebbe's house, and he was reading Yechezkel, right? And he was understanding the secret of this angel.
What is this thing?
This angel?
This angel Hashman. Is it written there?
So I don't know. It's the Chashmal
where is
is
it
in
written?
this verse. In
Where?
Ezekiel,
Where can I learn about it?
Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 27, they talk about the Chashmal.
Wait, is it like one pasuk?
It's one pasuk, but like it's that whole story is what the Maaser Merkava is. That story is the most secretive story in the entire Tanakh. And I didn't bring it because
It's
like
inside the Tanakh, Ezekiel.
yeah. Yechezkel.
יחזקאל איזה? 20 ופרק א'?
א', כ', ז'.
27. Wow.
27 בדיוק. So anyways,
I'll find it online.
yeah.
And we'll pass it now to the class.
V'yat is age.
Is he afraid to burn in fire?
Yeah, are you afraid, Harry?
Because
To
we're
burn?
gonna play with fire now.
Harry, you getting nervous? Oh, he's gone.
He went out?
Yeah, almost.
יחזקאל עוד פעם.
maybe-
יחזקאל פרק
Aleph, pasuk k'v zayin. Maybe b'chashmal. Yotis eish michashmal v'sarafto. So the fire comes from the chashmal and it burns him. Ubikshu ligno sefer Yechezkel, and they wanted to burn. They wanted to burn the book of Ezekiel. Yeah, you want to read it?
Yeah, read it.
Do you want to read it?
I'm not reading so good.
Va'era ke'ein chashmal. I saw something like the chashmal. Kimara eish, like the sight of fire. Beis la saviv. Now I don't have my Yechezkel. I don't know what that means.
Beit la saviv.
Beit la saviv, I think it means like inside of him or around him. Mimar'eh masnav, from his like loins, ulumayla and up. Umimar'eh masnav, and from the sight of his loins, ulumata, and under him, ra'itzi kimara eish. I saw like fire, the noga la saviv, and there was noga. There was like no noga. That's nogea. Noga is like shining around him, right? Kimareh keshet asher yebanan, like the sight of a rainbow that's in a cloud. Biyom HaGashem, on a rainy day. Kain mareh hanoga. That's what it looked like. So it was like dude, it sounds psychedelic, you know, like you saw rainbows around this angel and fire. Mareh demus kavod Adonai. He saw the sight of the form of the glory of the Lord. And I saw it there, and I heard a voice like speaking.
Man, look what I seen the next day. I went out from the ayahuasca.
Yeah, what'd you see?
It was amazing.
Oh, you saw it.
Rainbow. Look at this.
Nice.
It's so
last time I was on shrooms, I saw a double rainbow. It was crazy.
Look at this. It was so strong.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's the rainbow. So he says, Chanani ben Cheskia, im ze chacham akol chachamim. If this guy is the chacham and he understands the chashmal, then everyone's wise. Chachamim. My chashmal. You ask, what is the chashmal? Says the Gemara, my chashmal. What is this chashmal? Amar of Yehuda. So Rav Yehuda says, Chayos eish mimalalos. So it says, and like when these angels,
Chaya esh,
mimalalot is like they speak fire
from above.
No, that's ma'aleh. Mimamel is like the mamel is like to speak, right? So they speak fire. So b'masnisa Tana in a Brisa it teaches eitim chashos to eitim mimalalos. Sometimes they are silent and sometimes they're speaking. When a Kadosh Baruch Hu speaks, they're silent. They're not like they speak over Hashem. And
when it's not coming from him, it's with sound.
Then they speak, right? And then so tomorrow we'll go a little bit further in Ezekiel, and hopefully I'll have my book, my Tanakh, and we can go further. We'll go further tomorrow. And but that's today's share. Let's just want to see Rashi. So Rashi says that Nignat Sheish B'Sofo Devarim B'Korbanos Shesosim Divrei Torah. There's something about Korbanos that contradict the Torah. And he knew how to the drosh in the Chashmal. Okay. So he says that's the Merkava is until then. He says Im Adkan Shanitam. You learned a lot. Those two verses that I saw, like the Chashmal Marakeshet, Him Sheikh Pidu Alei B'Chavim Lidros. So those two verses which you just read are the most secretive and the most Kabbalistic and the most spiritual, most mysterious of the most mysterious chapter. And they said like this, and don't darshan it. But it's Shehein Midabrim B'Tzura Shechina Umareu. That's talking about what the Shechina looks like. Wow. B'Tzura Shechina.
What's Shechina?
The Shechina is like the divine presence. The Shechina. Harry, what is the Shechina? Could you please tell us what you think? Harry?
That's your roots.
And it's and by the time you take everything at the very
I'm with
end,
you.
So what's the Shechina?
The divine feminine presence.
Divine feminine presence. So that rainbow, that thing is the Shechina is from a lesson of Shochen. It's like the presence.
It's a divine feminine presence.
That's
What's
what Harry
masculine
says. Harry, Andre asked what's the divine masculine presence?
That's a good question. I mean, I know you're a master of it, but we believe there's different components of God, like mercy and then strict judgment. So we say the different attributes of God, the way we relate to it is speaking of parents, and we create a familial structure, speaking about the different ways the creator of the universe interacts with reality.
Right. So sometimes it interacts in a feminine way, sometimes it interacts in a masculine way.
Correct.
So the Shechina is the feminine. He's saying the Shechina is
masculine. I didn't hear him.
Oh.
It was,
yeah. So he's saying that like the masculine is another way that God like connects into this world. I don't know, like I would call it Zor Anpin maybe. These are just different like Kabbalistic phrases, and like we have to really understand like what it is. Yesod, maybe like the foundation, what is instilling spirituality or physicality into this world. What I think is that the Shechina is from Lashon of Shochen, right? It's like the presence in this world, like the divine presence in this world, right? I don't know. I mean, this world, if you know, is feminine. I would just say Shekhinah is the divine presence in this world, and I wouldn't necessarily say that it's feminine or masculine.
So what were you reading there?
Oh, that the reason that those verses, those last two verses talking about the Chashma, talking about the rainbow, are so secret is because it says like there's an opinion that the only thing that you're really not supposed to, the thing that's really so secret, are those last two verses that we just read. And the reason,
the rainbow in the Chashmal, something that you can understand and see in this world that it's like very divine.
That's a representation of the divine, yeah, in this world
that we can see with our eyes.
Yeah, that we can see maybe, yeah. So we're gonna go right there tomorrow. Yo, Harry, Shkayach Gado. We'll go right there tomorrow. We're on Yud Gimel. I'm a Bays now. It was a good Shteign. Andre, Shkayach Gadol, really big Shkayach. Shkayach is like Yeshar Kochach. Yeah, Shkayach. So anyway, peace and love, super chill, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right?
Fill them up, and it's becoming such a
Shkayach, Harry. All right, bye everyone. Much love.